Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankin. It's going to be an interesting one today. We're talking about Joaquin Phoenix, who it's first time we've done an actor that we don't have to worry about having 5 movies from the same franchise potentially come up in discussion because he's not really been in a franchise player. But over here we've got Austin. Austin, how's it going?
Yes, Movie Hero Network presents Rankum this evening, as I've got all my colleagues here tonight. So this should be a lot of fun. We all know each other really well. Talking about an actor that he's a really interesting dude that has a lot of interesting movies. So yeah, let's get started.
Also here we've got Richie. Richie, how's it going?
Yeah, man. Yeah, good. Yeah, I think Joaquin. Yeah, very interesting guy. Like, it isn't like the most he doesn't like work a whole lot as much as other actors you would probably see on Rankin, but I think a lot of the movies he does is he's memorable in it, even if the movie itself isn't overall great. He's great in it, so it'd be interesting to talk about.
Also here we've got Steven. Steven, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. I mean, he has done a lot of movies actually because he's been working since the 80s, and he's got over 30 movies actually.
Yeah.
Just
Way to take the wind down. Already, we haven't even started. You're already actually me.
But hey, no sequels though. So as far as I can see,
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're making a sequel to one of his movies right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
not in it,
last but not least, we got Jacob. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm happy to be here. Talk about Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, he's got some interesting movies. I'm excited to see what makes the list.
Mm-hmm.
But if that how the show works, we each go around in a circle and nominate a movie we think belongs on the top 12 list, and then everyone else will say yes or no to it. If it gets a majority of yeses, it will make the list. And yeah, so Austin, we're going to go to you first. What is the first movie you're going to bring up?
I'll talk about a director that I like most of his stuff, and then sometimes he's a train wreck. But let's talk about M. Night Shyamalan, and I'm going to talk about Signs. So let's start a little earlier. I think Joaquin Phoenix in Signs as Mel Gibson's brother, as Merrill, he plays an interesting, supporting role. He's kind of he's living with Mel, and he has this he's kind of all in on the conspiracy stuff. And I think we all remember one of my favorite scenes of the 2000s, like the actual one of the most disturbing scenes when he's sitting in the closet watching the footage of the Mexican birthday party and sees the alien walk by and has his little freak out. It's one of the first times I really took notice of Joaquin. I know he done some other stuff, and we'll talk about some of his other earlier movies, but when I really started to pay attention to him, and I think he's a really strong supporting actor in a lot of these movies, especially a lot of his early stuff. So I think it's a really good performance, and he plays a big part in the finale, and I think he's really good. So I'm going to shoot my shot for Signs. See what you guys think.
Richie, what do you say for Signs?
I did a Steven. Signs is like a movie like I liked when I first saw it, but I think in my Shyamalan's the ones where it's like you don't want to know what to think when you first watch it and you come back to it and you're like, okay, that's actually a pretty decent movie. Joaquin's really good in it. It's not one I thought of right off the bat when I thought of Joaquin, but he's good in it, and like he did play a lot of these supporting roles. We can't really forget his supporting roles before he was like did more major stuff. So I'm gonna say yes. Yeah.
Stephen, what do you say about Signs?
I can say yes since he went with the right M. Night Shyamalan movie and not the wrong one. Because Signs is up there, one of M. Night Shyamalan's better movies, and it's good, and he's good in it. And I mean, the last 5-10 minutes are not good, but it's still a good movie even with that ending.
Jacob, what do you say about Signs?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a yes. I have a very short list, so if if the movie you mentioned is on my list, I'm probably gonna say yes. And yeah, Signs. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember thinking it was pretty good. I haven't gone back to it. I probably should have for this, but just didn't have time. But yeah, it's a really good movie. One of M. Night Shyamalan's better movies, and so I think it should be on the list.
Yeah. I've also got a really short list because apparently I've seen less Joaquin Phoenix movies than what I thought. I actually watched Signs for the first time for this.
Okay.
Somehow I completely missed this when it first came out. But yeah, I enjoyed this. It's good. So it's an easy for me. So Signs does make the list. And we go to Richie.
You know, it didn't actually. I looked at your letterbox, Malcolm. And it didn't occur to me that you were watching it for Joaquin Phoenix. I was like, oh, why is he watching M Night Shyamalan movies? I'm like, are you doing an M Night Shyamalan thing?
Joaquin's in it, bro. He's done two of his movies.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. It only just occurred to me. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Anyway, cool. Well, I'm gonna go for another movie where he's supporting, but also a big presence in this movie, and it's also getting a sequel, but he's not in it for obvious reasons. I'm gonna go Gladiator.
Mhm.
He plays a really good psychopath as Commandus.
Commodus, yeah.
Commodus, he's really good, and I think that this is what I think this movie already comes into his own. Like, hey, this dude is this dude's a presence. This dude can, this dude could lead a movie. I almost would like to see it get kind of a spin-off of this character. But yeah, I think this I think his like sort of on-screen chemistry with Russell Crowe is amazing, and yeah, I think he's great, and he almost steals the movie. And when you almost steal the movie from Russell Crowe, that's amazing because Russell Crowe is one of the best actors. So yeah, I think we need to I think Gladiator needs to be on this list. So yeah, Gladiator.
I think we know what Steven's going to say.
Oh yeah, dude, you're right there. I didn't even look at your thing.
Yeah, it's my favorite movie of his, and it was in my top 128, and I think Commodus is one of the great movie villains of all time, and he deserved his Oscar nomination, and so yeah, that's an easy yes, obviously.
Jacob, what do you say about Gladiator?
So this has been a big blind spot of mine for a really long time. So much so that it is currently on in the background right now because I am not good at time management, but I knew I wanted to see this before the show. I'm a little more than half. I'd say I'm like 2/3 of the way through. And yeah, no, this movie is excellent. Joaquin Phoenix is despicable at times. Russell Crowe is great. I think the action pieces are really good, and yeah, I'm loving this. So I think this is an easy yes.
Yeah, this is a yes for me. Like Gladiator is a movie that I've also always really loved. I was actually going to rewatch for this, but it's been a while since I've actually seen it. But I didn't get around to doing that. But yeah, it's a yes for me. Austin, what do you say about Gladiator?
Oh, 100%. Look, the reason why he's good and his chemistry with Russell Crowe is so good is to be a great hero, you almost have to have a great villain. And he's the perfect bounce off for Russell Crowe because he's such an honorable dude. And Commodus is such a sniveling little entitled shit, in the movie. And he's almost the prototype for Joffrey, on Game of Thrones, just this kind of childlike guy who finally gets power and just completely abuses it and wants everything done now and just completely turns on everybody else, and he's just so hateable and so punchable, but in the best way in that movie. And it's a role that I think a lot of people stood up and started taking notice of him, and it's easily, and you could argue it's probably his best supporting role he's ever done. So yeah, no, 100% yes for Gladiator.
Stephen, what is your next nomination?
And also, they just announced that Connie Nielsen's coming back for Gladiator 2. I'll go with one that I think is one of his more mainstream movies, and I think it's super underrated, and I'm gonna go for Ladder 49, where he plays a firefighter, and in the beginning of the movie, he's caught in a you know serious situation, and then the movie flashes back to as he started off, and I think he doesn't play a lot of likable and normal people in his movies, but he's very likable in this movie. He's very appealing, and the ending is actually quite moving. And so Ladder 49 is my first nomination.
Jacob, what do you say about Ladder 49?
Probably won't be the first time I say this. Haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen this too. I haven't seen Letters 1 to 48, so I thought it'd be really pointless jumping into 49.
Hey,
But
you didn't have to leave.
He's still in audio.
I mean, he just turned his camera off. He's
I
still
know,
on.
I know. Yeah.
But Austin, what do you say about
So
Ladder 49?
I haven't seen Ladder 49 since the theaters. I have seen it, but I saw it in theaters back in 2004, 2005, whenever it was. And yeah, that was when we were still, cool with John Travolta starring in movies before he kind of faded away again. But yeah, I wasn't as familiar with him when I saw the initial movie. I kind of just remember being like, oh, hey, there's that dude from Signs, like just in the supporting role. But I remember him being really good in the movie. Yeah, it does kind of center more on him because of the flashbacks than John Travolta. And yeah, like Steven said, he's kind of the heart of the movie and kind of the one we latch onto. So I don't know if it'd be super high. If it makes the list, I might put it on the lower end, but sure, I'll give it a slight yes. Yeah.
So if it falls on Richie, what do you say about Ladder 49?
Problem is, I haven't seen it. I remember it coming out, and I totally forgot about this movie until Stephen brought it up and he explained it. I'm like, oh yeah, that movie. Yeah. But I always wanted to, so I'll get now that I'll get around to it. But yeah, it's not that when I was doing Joaquin Phoenix, it's just not one that popped up my radar. So sorry, Stephen, but maybe if we do a redux and I'm on there, it might go on my list because I've always wanted to.
Unfortunately, Ladder 49 doesn't make the list. Jacob, we go to you.
Yeah, is it any surprise that I'm going to bring up the animated movie that he's been in? I don't think that should be a surprise to anyone. I'm going to go with Brother Bear. I think Brother Bear, right behind Hunchback of Notre Dame, is probably Disney's most underrated animated movie. I think it's a really good story. He plays he's the what's the big bear name? Kenai. I always get him backwards, Kenai and Coda. So I had to look it up real quick. But he plays Kenai, who gets turned into a bear and kind of goes on this journey. It's a good brother story of he develops this brother relationship with Coda. You learn later on that spoilers for a 20-year-old movie that the bear that got killed was Coda's mom, and so there's a lot of emotion here. I just think it's a really good story. Awesome soundtrack. I think Joaquin gives a great voice performance. I didn't even know it was Joaquin until later on after I'd seen it because, back in my early teen years, I wasn't paying attention to actors the way I, do now. So, but yeah, I think it's a great, great animated movie from Disney, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, eventually we'll probably get a live action remake of this, but then again, they'll probably do a live action remake of Encanto before they eventually get to Brother Bear.
It's so weird that they do that.
But yeah, it'll serious. I'm not honestly not the biggest fan of Brother Bear, but I'll give it a slight yes. Yeah, I do think it's fine. But yeah, Austin, what do you say about Brother Bear?
So I haven't seen it since the theaters. I worked at the theater when this came out, so I haven't seen it since then. But I'm interested to go back to it, and if I'd had more time, I would have. Having said that, I kind of remembered it at the time being more of Rick Moranis' final movie than like a Joaquin Phoenix movie, because this is like the last one before he kind of had a sort of abrupt retirement. But you know what? For diversity's sake, for Jacob's sake, let's get an animated movie on the list. I probably won't vote for it very high, just to let you know, Jacob.
Oh
Probably
no,
gonna
I
be
don't.
like
Yeah,
a number 11 or 12 for me, but you know, why not put his one animated, voice performance on this list? There's another movie we'll talk about, I'm sure, that has another famous voice performance, but we'll get to that eventually. But yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, I'll say yes.
Richie, what do you say about Brother Bear?
And animated movies have their place on the list, JPO. Anyway, but yeah,
he's just mad because he was the one lonely Mark that didn't get asked to be on the show.
Yeah.
Poor Dinners. I like Pairs. I haven't seen him since the theater, but I enjoyed it. I haven't gone back to it, but I enjoyed it when I watched it, and yeah, I think for diversity's sake, we should have an animated movie on. So yeah, I like Pairs. It might not be high when we do the ranking, but I think it should be on here. So I'll go yes.
Yeah.
Stephen, what do you say about the Brother Bear?
Haven't seen it.
What, you mean those kids weren't watching it in the background to prep for the show? What?
Yeah. Why can't you teach your kids to prep for a show?
That is lies, JPO, lies.
Let's see how many accounts tonight.
Yeah.
Get your kids to watch. Get the kids to watch. I'm Still Here. I'm still getting a kick out of it.
That probably wouldn't go well with their parents.
They don't watch Joker on a weekly basis like I do. Come on now.
Weekly are you okay?
No. I've been laughing uncontrollably at odd times of the day, and I don't know what's going on with me. I have to carry a business card now just to explain myself.
But yeah, moving on to me, I'm gonna bring up one which, like, really sort of, like, came out in 2018, but kind of didn't really get a lot of buzz. And it's Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot. Because this is a movie which I think is a very underrated movie of his. Because I think it's done by Gus Van Sant, and it's got Jack Black and all that, and it's just all the cast is really good. Basically, the plot of it is like this cartoonist John Callan sort of becomes a paraplegic and then falls in love and all that, and it's a really interesting story. And it's like, and I just sort of great, like, especially with the fact that I had never heard of this guy at all. Like, so I didn't know what to expect from this movie, and just a lot of fun. So yeah, Austin, what do you say about Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot?
Yeah, this is one I watched for the show the other day because I had heard it been recommended. I figured it would probably be brought up, and yeah, I don't know if he plays, as far as I can tell from the list, a lot of sort of he does one or two, and I'm sure there's another one we'll talk about, but like biopics. And this is one that I didn't really know it was a biopic going into it. But yeah, the fact that he's playing this cartoonist that's in a wheelchair and a paraplegic, and yeah, it's a lot funnier than I thought it'd be. Like, a lot of his cartoons are funny. He has a good kind of dark humor outlook on life, and yeah, all the sessions he has with like Jonah Hill and stuff were really interesting. I thought for a minute it felt like, especially the opening scene, it felt like there were like real people in that opening scene talking to Jonah Hill, like real people in the little therapy session or whatever. I wonder if that's true or not. But yeah, I ended up thinking it was a pretty good movie. So yeah, I'll say yeah. Or Don't Worry, whatever it's called. Won't worry.
Don't Worry,
the foot movie, whatever. Yeah, whatever. We'll call it. Yeah.
The foot, the paraplegic, the foot movie that's not my left foot.
Yes.
I don't know. The foot movie sounds like something Tarantino would make. Richie, what do you say about Don't Worry, He Won't Get?
It's about a movie critic, but it's just shots of her feet.
It's just he'll get a shot of a foot in there,
Yeah, he'll still get nominated for an Oscar for his screenplay.
Yeah, yeah. This is I'm glad it got brought up. I haven't seen it in a while, but I do like Gus Van Sant. He's very he's very polarizing, but I do like his stuff. So, and yeah, I think this is underrated for Joaquin and also Jonah Hill. And yeah, I think it's a really weird, but kind of fun movie. And yeah, it's a lot funnier than you'd expect. So yeah, I'll say yes to this.
Stephen, what do you say about Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot?
So I had to choose between two. I was between this and the Sisters Brothers for me to watch, which strangely enough also came out in 2018. For me to watch today for this, I ended up going with the other one, and so I didn't end up seeing it. But I will, if no one else brings it up, I will bring up another movie he did with Gus Van Sant later on.
And Jacob, what do you say about why he won't get far on foot?
Yeah, there were two movies that I really wanted to see make the list outside of the obvious ones, and this was one of them. I think, the comedy is great. I think Joaquin Phoenix gives an excellent performance. His dynamic with Jonah Hill, I think, is great. Jack Black is great. So, yeah, this is a yes for me.
Speaking of Jack Black, I saw another weird movie of his yesterday. Yesterday on Netflix, that Polka King. That's bizarre. Go watch that.
Yeah. I actually just quickly read up about the production of it, and apparently this was originally going to be like Robin Williams had bought the rights to this book, so it would have been Robin Williams in the role that Joaquin Phoenix eventually played. So it's just interesting. But Austin, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, well, now we got the personal picks out of the way. Let's get back to business and let's get Joker on the list before we start to panic. So, yeah, Joker, the role he finally won an Oscar for, and for good reason, at least in my opinion. I think this movie is masterfully done. And yes, it pulls some things from other movies, but I still think it's at its core a character piece. And his dynamic in this movie is incredible. Just all the little ticks he does, the way he just completely dives headfirst into the character, and all the scenes where he's doing the uncontrollable laughing and things. Is really interesting, and just to see his tragedy of life, and his transformation is phenomenal. So yeah, I think this list would not be complete without Joker. So yeah.
Richie, what do you say about Joker?
I don't know. No, obviously, yeah. I mean, this is phenomenal, and you had a big just feel like Heath Ledger's Joker is considered like one of the iconic roles, and I think he comes close to it. He's amazing in this movie. I've seen this. I'm not one of those people that goes back to the theaters that often, like after I've seen a movie, but I saw this movie like 3 times. I love this film so much. He's so good in this movie. He's just so captivating, and just every nuance of the performance he just nails. So absolutely, 100% yes.
Stephen, what do you say about Joker?
So I'm not as high as you guys are on this movie, but I do like it. I think it's a good movie, and he is compelling to watch. So I'll give it a yes.
Jacob, what do you say about Joker?
I guess. No, an easy yes. It's like there's obvious picks for every single one of these topics that get brought up, and I think this is the obvious choice, or at least one of them, for Joaquin Phoenix, because he gives such a great performance. There's a reason he won the Oscar for it, and then just the movie, just as a whole, it's great. So yeah, pretty easy yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also not as high Joker as everyone else, but I still think it's a good movie. And I actually was going to rewatch it for this if I had time. I just didn't. But yeah, it's still going to be a yes for me though. So Joker's going to make this list, and we go to Richie.
All right, I'll go another sort of mainstream one that gets a lot of love and a lot of love and tournament fights. I'll go Her. Her's really good. By Spike Jonze, who should probably do more movies, man. You're good.
Yeah, where'd you go, Spike? Quit just being like a side jackass guy and make more movies.
You're good.
Yeah, you're really good at it. Make some more.
Yeah, I just like, how he makes you care about like this this big like emotional relationship between Joaquin and like there's basically this technology, this voice, this voice, and it's just like how how it just like sucks you in, and yeah, it's just it and yeah, it's just it's very. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very, very emotional, and you care, and it's just like it's great writing, and yeah, I think they're both phenomenal. The chemistry is amazing, and yeah, I think it deserves its praise, and yeah, it should be on this list. So I'm going to her.
Stephen, what do you say about her?
I mean, it won either part 1 or part 2
of your 128.
So yeah, the answer is that is no. No, I'm kidding. Of course it's
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I love this movie. It sounds like a silly concept, but I mean, because of the performances from Phoenix and Johansson, they sell it. So they're both incredible in this, and so yeah, it's easy yes, obviously.
Jacob, what do you say about her?
I'm just gonna pretend like I've seen it and say yes.
Yeah, I mean, her is an easy yes for me. I knew it was going to eventually come up, and it's just one that I really love and go back to. I think Joaquin's a really good performance, and it's actually a surprisingly good performance from like Chris Pratt as well in this as well, because yeah, but her's making this list.
Amy Adams is in it too.
Austin, what do you say about her?
Oh yeah, no, this is actually the one I was rewatching about and finished it before about 20 minutes before we went live because yeah, it's been coming up so often on tournament fights, and I knew we had this coming up. I wanted to rewatch it because I don't think I'd actually watched it since the theater, even though I own it on Vudu. And yeah, this was great. Like it's a concept that could go horribly wrong and be really silly, especially the sex scene supposedly between the two of them. And apparently he was laughing kind of when the cameras weren't rolling, at like the performance. But it's a concept that could go wrong, but you totally buy it because of the acting, how much they sell it, and yeah, you buy that. He's in love with his operating system, which I don't think we're very far off from. By the way, I think we're about 2 years away from people falling in love with like visual chatbots or something. So it's gonna be close. It's gonna be soon. But what?
There's this AI thing that they already have on Snapchat.
The chat GPT, the chat GPT thing, people are like talking to that and like falling in love. I just mean like once they get like a visual element to it as well and the audio element, like Scarlett Johansson in this movie, it's over. People are gonna fall in love with it. It's gonna happen. So yeah, it's gonna happen. I don't think we're that far away from that. Actually, I think this movie's pretty way ahead of its time as well. Yeah.
I just can't believe they tried remaking her and calling it Jixie with Adam Devine. But Stephen, we go back to you. What is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'll go with another one that is obvious and another Oscar nomination from him, and that is when he played Johnny Cash in Walk the Line.
Yeah.
It's he's absolutely incredible. The chemistry he has with Reese Witherspoon is great, and it's probably one of my favorite of all the musical biopics that we've gotten over the years. It's probably my favorite one. I think was it that year that or the year before that where Jamie Foxx won
the year before, yeah, her because Ray was 2004 and then this came out in 2005 right after that, so it was two big kind of Oscar acclaimed biopics, back to back, because the two movies, Stephen, that Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, kind of mashes on. It's both of those. Then when it came out,
I never saw Walk Hard.
Oh, if you love Walk the Line and Ray, it's a complete send up of both of those movies together. You'd love it. Yeah, it's great.
But Jacob, what do you say about Walk the Line?
Yeah, it's gonna get a yes from me. I think Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon, like Steven said, have great chemistry with each other. I think, the scenes where Joaquin is feeling the effects of the drugs, I think he is incredible. And who doesn't love to just like listen to Johnny Cash music every once in a while? So taking the that was sort of my grandma's music. She passed when I was 10, so I didn't listen to it a lot. But every once in a while she would throw it on because of course she did. And so yeah, I think he's great. All the supporting cast is great. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize until I looked at the Oscars for this year. Joaquin Phoenix was up against a fellow Joker before he became Joker, Heath Ledger, in the same category. Because Heath Ledger was nominated for Brokeback Mountain, but ultimately Philip Seymour Hoffman won for Capote. But yeah, I mean, Walk the Line is great. Like, I think if I remember rightly, I think Johnny Cash handpicked Joaquin Phoenix to play himself. And I know that Joaquin managed to spend some time with Johnny Cash to get it right. You can definitely tell that like the mannerisms and that were just really spot on. And Walk the Line will probably always be sort of up there in my top 128. So it's a yes for me. Also, what to say about Walk the Line?
Yeah, I think this might actually be the turning point in his career where a lot of people really started getting to know his name and him becoming, kind of more familiar to audiences. Because he'd done, Gladiator and Signs in the Village and things like that. But this one, actually playing Johnny Cash and getting an Oscar-nominated performance out of it, and with there being a lot of Johnny Cash fans, I think this finally kind of really, really helped him turn the corner and become like a mainstream actor. And it's been a long time since I watched it, but I did see it in theaters and remember he was really great. There's a scene where he's coked up on stage and he collapses and just he's running all over the place and just on every drug you think of, and he fully commits to the role and he's really great. And this is 100% yes. This is an obvious one that should be on the list.
And Richie, what do you say about
I really like the movie. He's amazing in it. Like, I mean, obviously, like the walk hard, makes you like assess the formulaic of like biopics like Walk the Line and Ray, but it's still a very good performance. Judging Joaquin's performance is still
that might be the reason, Richie, why I haven't gone back and watched the Walk the Line, because I'll just see the Walk Hard thing like throughout the whole movie. Like I haven't come back to watch it because I'm just thinking about that movie the whole time.
So but like it's like his performance is amazing. He deserves an Oscar nomination, and so absolutely yes.
And Robert Patrick from Terminator as Johnny Cash's dad is actually pretty good, well done as well. But Jacob, we go back to you. What's your next nomination?
Which Joaquin Phoenix movie have you seen, Jacob?
We'll go. I'll try for this one. I'll try for You Were Never Really Here. I think this movie is really good. It's hard to watch at times. He plays a guy named Joe who he tracks down missing girls, and he goes on this one assignment case. I don't know what you call it, job. And there's some things that happen that I wasn't expecting. I feel like this is a little underseen, so I don't want to go too much into it, but it gets brutal at times. It's only 90 minutes, so it's a quick watch, but it's brutal, but he gives such a good performance. So You Were Never Really Here will be my next nomination.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people sort of bring this up in conversation, say this was Joaquin Phoenix audition tape for the Joker. I watched this for this. I've been meaning to watch it for many times, but just for whatever reason, I just didn't get around to it. But I finally got around to it. It's really good and just really unexpectedly brutal. But then again, I didn't really know what to expect going in anyway. But it's a good movie. It's a yes for me. Also, what do you say about You're Never Really Here?
Yeah, this is another one I definitely watched before this, because I know our friend Wolfman's a big fan of this movie too, and has been championing it for a while. And he's playing this veteran that definitely has some twisted kind of mental issues coming out of that, but he's kind of channeling it into this mission to, save certain people, but only if they pay him for it. He's not going out and being a vigilante. He takes money to do what he does, but he fully commits to it. And yeah, there's some very violent stuff in some of the people he encounters, and yeah, it definitely gets disturbing at times. But yeah, it's a darker role for him for sure. But I think he plays dark, very well, and he fully commits to it. So yeah, it's an underseen movie, but yeah, it definitely deserves to be on this list. So I'll say yes.
And Richie, what do you say about You're Never Really Here?
Yeah, this movie's very brutal, but but I'm glad it's brought up. Yeah, it's one of he does do that very well. And I think when the topic came up of Joaquin, I was hoping this would get brought up. So I'd say yes. It is like sort of an uncomfortable watch. It's not something you could watch like multiple times, but it is pretty good.
I mean, if you really had issues, you probably could watch it multiple times. It's only 90 minutes, so yeah.
Or you could watch Joker once a week or something. I don't know.
But watch Joker once a week. I could, but I don't.
But Stephen, what do you say about You're Never Really Here?
I guess this is going to be my hot take, but I thought this movie was kind of boring, to be honest. Joaquin Phoenix has done 2 movies. Out of all the movies of his I've seen, there's only 2 of them I don't like. And I've already alluded to one of them, and this is the other one.
Okay.
So it's a yes then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's making it in regardless. But
All right, so jot that down for Steven's number 12. You were never really here.
But You're Never Really Here is going to make this list, and it's on me. There's 2 ways I want to go for. I'm going to go for this one because I think one of this director's movies should make the list. And I'm going for The Master. Look, The Master's a really interesting. It's an interesting movie, but it's also a really good one as well. I remember watching this when we were doing 20. It's going to come up with the 2012 tournament fights, but I watched it for something else recently. But yeah, basically, it Joaquin Phoenix is this kind of Navy veteran who's sort of struggling to adjust to post-war, and it's just really an interesting kind of movie. And I think Philip Seymour Hoffman is this kind of guru which tries to help him get over his anger issues, and that it's I think it's just a really good sort of duo act that I think goes unnoticed sometimes, and I think Joaquin Phoenix and Seymour Hoffman actually had a great period. I really wish they had a chance to do more together. But awesome, what you say about The Master?
Actually, yeah, that was the next one I was going to bring up if you didn't, Malcolm. So, it's 100% yes for The Master. It's another movie I rewatched not too long ago when Henry and I were talking about PTA movies, and yeah, I had forgotten how good this movie is, and yeah, the performances are all powerhouse. It just stinks because everybody was nominated for it. It was Joaquin got nominated, Philip Seymour Hoffman got nominated, Amy Adams got nominated, but when you're up against Daniel Day-Lewis in any year, that kind of sucks. And then Philip Seymour Hoffman went up against Christoph Waltz and Django, so that sucks because those are all great performances. But any other year, he probably would have either one of them probably would have won. And yeah, you could just point to the 2 scenes alone in this movie and understand how great the performances are. The sort of initiation interview scene that they have back and forth that Philip Seymour Hoffman has with Joaquin, that's great, and how frustrated he gets. And the same with the scene where he makes him walk back and forth from the window to the wall, over and over and over again. And it's just their chemistry is electric. Anything they do together is great. And yeah, he's phenomenally unhinged in this movie at times as well, and it's excellent. So yeah, no, it's easy yes for The Master.
Richie, what do you say about The Master?
I might have had little John Kneeside boys in my head when you said from the window to the wall. Anyway,
from the window to the wall. Anyway. Joaquin drips from my balls.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Ask Little John. I don't know what that means.
Anyway, I was going to bring this up next as well, if no one else brought her up. But yeah, no, this is masterful performances. It's amazing. I don't really know much more to add, but it sucks because like if you weren't going up against powerhouse performance, I think that they would have swept for acting and acting awards. But it's a movie that I feel like is over the years has sort of gone under the radar a bit. But I think it's great. So definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that honestly, I probably would have gone Seymour Hoffman over Christoph Waltz, but I'm not. I wasn't too unhappy about either of them winning. Stephen, what do you say about The Master?
I was actually rooting for Robert De Niro at the time, but I was happy with Christoph Waltz winning. But it's funny, when this movie first came out, I wasn't a big fan, but I remember rewatching it for something. Maybe it was for Philip Seymour Hoffman. I can't remember. And I remember or maybe it was Amy Adams actually. I think that was what I probably rewatched it for. And it's a lot better than it is. I mean, it's really fascinating and compelling, and since it's kind of based on what's the guy from Scientology?
L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah,
A little
that's
bit. Yeah.
that's what I read and what I think Paul Thomas Anderson said. And like a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson movies, but this one especially, it's the cinematography is stunning and it's just really meticulously made and masterfully directed. And both Phoenix um, and Hoffman are both fantastic in it. So it's definitely one of his better movies. So yeah.
And Jacob, what do you say about The Master?
Yeah, this is going to get a yes for me. Powerhouse performances all around. And the scenes that Austin mentioned, I would even go to the scene in the jail where they're just yelling at each other. I think that's really good too. I think there's just a lot you can point to as just really good acting. And like if you just want to showcase good acting, then go point him to this movie. PTA seems to get the best out of whoever he's working with. So it'll be a yes.
Austin, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Well, I'm really mad at Steven coming into the show, and I'll tell you why. Because, Steven, why didn't you tell me sooner that Return to Paradise is so fucking awesome and such a great goddamn movie? What the hell? I remember you mentioning it before this and tell me that you might bring it up on the show, but I'm going to bring it up. I watched it yesterday. I rented it from Vudu. And this movie's great. And it's another movie where Joaquin Phoenix doesn't have specifically a ton of screen time. He's got like maybe 3 or 4 primary scenes because if you don't know the premise, it's from '98. It's Vince Vaughn and it's Joaquin Phoenix, and these guys go to Malaysia and they're just partying and having a good time. And they bought a whole bunch of weed, apparently, a whole lot of weed. And Joaquin Phoenix, after they leave, stays behind, and he gets arrested for trafficking weed, even though he's not, obviously. And he's going to be put to death. And there's this thing where the other 2 guys that were with him can have a choice to go back and take some of the sentence off of him and to save him from getting the death penalty. And it's a moral conundrum about whether or not they go back and help him from not being hanged. And Joaquin specifically, he's in the beginning. He has like a video scene that he filmed that he's really good. And the scene, I won't spoil too much, but I'll just say his kind of final scenes in the movie are really, really heartbreaking and emotional and really great. And he's tremendous. The courtroom scene too. It's one of his, I can't believe I missed this movie for the longest time, but it's really, really great. You guys should say yes. You'll probably say, other than Steven, that you haven't seen it, but you guys should say yes. So Return to Paradise from 1998. It's the better, by the way, Anne Heche, Vince Vaughn movie from 1998. The other one being Psycho. So
Richie, what do you say about Return to Paradise?
I'm not going to say I haven't seen it, so I'll say yes.
Stephen, what do you say about Return to Paradise?
Nah,
Yeah, right.
No. uh, um, I didn't. I totally forgot about Psycho. It's funny because Vince Vaughn and Joaquin Phoenix also had another movie together in 1998 that I haven't seen in a very long time, but I do remember enjoying. Uh,
Mhm.
but but yeah, this one is obviously easy yes. Also, if you already, because of the whole Will Smith thing, don't like uh, um,
Oh,
Jada
Jada
Pinkett
Pinkett.
Smith,
Right. Her
you
character in this movie.
you won't
Yeah.
like her in this movie even more.
Yes. All right.
Jacob, what do you say about Return to Paradise?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm going to say it. I haven't seen it, but it's going to make the list. It's going to make the list anyway. But Rich, we're going to go back to you.
All right. I'm torn between two movies here. One's like an experiment. One's not a lesser seen movie, but also could be like a kind of a audition tape for the Joker in a way. I guess because of there's so few movies, might get brought up anyway. Okay. No, I'm gonna bring up this one. I'm gonna bring up the mockumentary. I'm Still Here. uh, this was like so weird. Like when the marketing of this movie is weird because like he'd come out and like, obviously Dave later, but you're like man, like this full full on like Butch Beard, then that opposite that weird interviews like oh what's going on here? You think he was having a full meltdown, but he's going like this rap career, but no, it turns out him and Casey Affleck were doing this project about this mockumentary, and it's fascinating. It's actually fascinating. It's this I find that that's the only word I can touch. But it's fascinating, and then it's I kind of want to see more things like this. It's just I don't know. It's hard to explain how weird this movie is, but you could almost argue this is like a precursor to Joker as well. This dude is like seemingly kind of lost his mind, but it's I absolutely love it. It's really captivating. So I'm going to go. I'm Still Here, and hopefully I can bring out the other one before we.
Stephen, what do you say about I'm Still Here?
I haven't seen it, but I always wanted to because this is the movie that caused him and Casey Affleck a huge controversy, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of the whole sexual misconduct thing or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't.
But
I forgot
yeah.
about that aspect of it. Thanks.
Jacob, what do you say about I'm Still Here?
I haven't seen it, but you had me at mockumentary, so I'm intrigued, and I will get to this probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've not got around to this. This is one.
The other thing.
This is one I kind of wanted to watch. For this, just once again, just ran out of time. But awesome, what you say about I'm Still Here.
I remember seeing that Letterman interview and being like, "Are you doing some like Andy Kaufman thing? Like, what the hell are you doing?" And then but not being compelled enough to see the movie or support it, so I never watched it. I was just like, I don't know what you're doing, but it's weird and I don't care. So
Didn't
yeah,
he put a paper bag on his head going, "I'm not famous anymore" or something like that?
That's Shia LaBeouf.
That was Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
the other weird guys.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, Richie. I'm gonna stick to actual movies on this list. So.
Oh yeah, I should have brought up the other thing anyway. Hopefully, you bring it up.
But Stephen, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'll bring up the other Gus Van Sant movie.
That's what I was bring up.
That he did, and that's To Die For, with a great Nicole Kidman performance where she manipulates Phoenix into killing her husband, played by Matt Dillon, and it's just a really funny, sharp, satire of the media and everything. And yeah, it's I haven't seen it in a while, but I love it. It's a great movie. One of my favorite Nicole Kidman performances.
Jacob, what do you say about To Die For?
You know, when I agreed to be on this episode, I had planned on watching more Joaquin Phoenix. I was really busy. So I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, when I was going down the filmography looking at movies that I had to watch, like, this is not one that screamed out to me. It's one to must watch. So I didn't see it. Austin, what do you say about To Die For?
I watched it. You know where I watched it, Jacob? On Tubi. Because it's one of my. I was intrigued to watch it because I had always seen this poster around because it's just kind of a sultry Nicole Kidman poster, you know, her showing off her cleavage. But when I found out it was one of my favorite little subgenres that I'm trying to get into recently, is the trash thriller, is what I like to call it. These sort of trashy 80s and 90s, you know, people seducing people and turning on them and doing all this stuff. That's like, you know, Body Heat and Body of Evidence and Basic Instinct and The Last Seduction and things like that. You know, all these like trash movies. So I found it was a trash thriller. I watched it, and yeah, Joaquin's is another really early role because Casey Affleck's in that movie too, right? Like he's like his buddy.
Yeah.
In the movie. Yeah, this might have been where they first met, and yeah, he's a very naive little kid. And he's kind of shy, and yeah, he gets roped into this whole situation, and she messes with him. But Nicole Kidman's really good in this movie too. Like it's a performance I hadn't seen of her. So yeah, I'll say yes to Die For, but I anticipate it not making it because Richard probably hasn't seen it either. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, it isn't on Tubi for me anyway, so it's probably not for Richie.
Okay.
But Richie, what do you say about To Die For?
Well, the thing, it's probably similar in respects of his. It's like, yeah, I went down the list of like Joaquin, and then I'm like, oh, I'm at To Die For. I haven't heard of that, but then I clicked on it, and then I looked at the poster. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that in like video stores and stuff. I remember the poster. And then it didn't compel me enough to watch it, so I didn't get around to it. But maybe I should be at some point. But yeah, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound interesting. I probably will watch it for something if it comes up. Maybe Nicole Kidman or something.
Let's do a 90s trash erotic thriller list, and I'll be on that show. That'd be a great show.
Yeah.
I mean, Joaquin Phoenix isn't another one that I'm probably not going to. I mean, there's only 2 spots left, anyways. But I probably wouldn't bother bringing it up, even though it's not bad, but it's not great either.
Okay.
Anyway, Jacob, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'll try for he's a very minor role in it, but I think he's really good. I'll try for Hotel Rwanda. I think he plays a cameraman, and yeah, he's not in it a lot, but I think you know he shines when he's on screen. He shows that he can do these kind of side roles as well. He's still really good. The movie overall I think is great. Don Cheadle I think gives a great performance. Not the easiest to watch. Like the subject material is not exactly uplifting or anything, so not the easiest to watch just based on what's going on. But yeah, great performances all around, and I think in the little screen time he has, I think he's really good. So I'll shoot my shot for Hotel Rwanda.
Yeah, this was one I was going to watch. For this, I saw it on Netflix like at the start of the week, but by the time I actually go around to watch it, it was removed.
No. Did it not tell you like this is leaving Netflix?
I mean, it might have did. I just didn't pay attention.
It might only do that if you like put it in your queue or something like that to watch, or like your watch list or something. It might tell you, but other than that, it disappears.
But Austin, what do you say about Hotel Rwanda?
So I've seen Hotel Rwanda. It's been a long time. I didn't, until I started looking at this list, remember that he was in Hotel Rwanda. Like I just didn't remember that. I maybe, and again at the time it was when he was doing all the supporting stuff. So I don't know what to do here because it's a great movie. I know it is, but I don't remember him being in it. So I don't know if I could say yes to a performance for a movie I don't remember him being in. Period. I'll put it on Richie. I'll say yes.
Richie, what do you say about Hotel Rwanda?
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Like, I would have brought it up earlier. However, I mean, I might have brought it up earlier just because, but like, I was looking through the list, and yeah, when I saw Dr. Rwanda there, I had to remember, oh yeah, that's right, he's in that movie. So yeah, but like because Hotel Rwanda is so great, and there's not like a lot left that were like, oh, that's an obvious choice to go on the list, and we've got 2 spots left. So so I would say yes.
If that Hotel Rwanda does make this list, and it comes back round to me. But yeah, I'm going to bring up a movie that I'm honestly surprised took this long to get to. But it's the Sisters Brothers. It's one that I finally got around to actually watching for this. And I think this is a really good movie. I think this could be out there for one of John C. Reilly's best movies too. Like it especially hit like him out of a comedic one, being in like a more dramatic type role. But this is just a really interesting story, and I think Joaquin's really good in this. So yeah, Austin, what do you say about the Sisters Brothers?
That was one I was watching this morning before I headed out for the day because when I looked at the list and I put it on my watch list because I was like, oh, a Western with Joaquin, yeah, I gotta watch that. And him and John C. Reilly are great. They have phenomenal chemistry. That's literally what they're called. Their names are sisters. That's like their last name, so they're the Sisters Brothers. But yeah, they're chasing after a guy that Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of setting up to chase after them, and there's some twists and turns and some betrayals, and there's gold involved, and there's a bear attack and spider bites and all kinds of crazy stuff that happens in this movie along the way. And they kept mentioning Jacksonville in this movie, but it's Jacksonville, Oregon or Wyoming or something, not my Jacksonville, Florida, which I thought it was. But yeah, it's a really good Western. And yeah, I think their chemistry alone, if you're a fan of Joaquin or John C. Reilly, I encourage you to watch this movie. It's really good. So yeah, I'll give it a yes. I enjoyed it.
Richie, what do you say about the Sisters Brothers?
I think that the movie I was going to bring up is not going to make this list, but it's all right. I feel like the movie I'm going to bring up is it's probably got someone who controversial attached to it. So I'm not doing that intentionally. I just apparently like to bring up cancelled people. Anyway, this movie, yeah, I actually think this movie is pretty decent. I had forgotten about that we hadn't brought this movie yet. It's really good. Great Western, and yeah, it does deserve to be on this list. So screw the other movie I was going to bring up. So yeah, I'll go yes.
Stephen, what do you say about the Sisters Brothers?
Yeah, this is the one that I just finished before this started, and yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I liked it a lot. Yeah, good chemistry not only between John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix, but also Jake Gyllenhaal and Riz Ahmed are both really good in it too. And so I'd go with I'd say yes. It's a good movie to round up the top 12.
And Jacob, what do you say about Sisters Brothers?
Yeah, I think John C. Reilly really shines when he's doing non-comedic roles. I think he's great in a sort of a dramatic performance. So John C. Reilly, Jake Gyllenhaal, Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, how could you go wrong? Yeah.
But that Sisters Brothers does make the list, and that rounds out the list. Just to recap what is on the list, we've got Signs, Gladiator, Brother Bear, Don't Worry, Won't Get Far on Foot, Joker, Her, Walk the Line, You're Never Really Here, The Master, Return to Paradise, Hotel Rwanda, and the Sisters Brothers. Austin, do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, actually, the next one I was going to bring up is a movie called The Immigrant that I watched for this as well. He's really good as kind of this kind of scummy guy who puts Marion Cotillard, this immigrant, right off the boat, kind of seduces her and then puts her to work, and then she eventually becomes a prostitute for him, but kind of unwillingly to help his sister out. But he's really complex, good character in it, so I recommend that movie. I would have brought up We Own the Night, which is a good movie he did with Mark Wahlberg, kind of a sort of mob movie. Is pretty
Eva
solid.
Mendes as well, right?
Yeah, Eva Mendes. Yeah, it's a good little movie. I don't really like the movie Inherent Vice, but he's really good in it. So if somebody had brought it up, I probably would have said yes, even though I don't like that movie. And then he's one of the standouts if we were to dive into his child acting history in Parenthood, he's pretty good in Parenthood, and he's got a nice little subplot in that. So that's just if we had nominated one of his sort of child acting roles. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Richie, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
I have two. The one I was going to bring up, but I did cancel, the Woody Allen film Irrational Man. He did it with Emma Stone, and he plays a dude that's like an alcohol, sort of caught up in a love triangle, and yeah, it's sort of it could be seen as like a prequel to Joker. He plays a really disturbed dude, and kind of becomes a bit of a psycho. So yeah, like it's not important. We get that when you brought up Sisters Brothers, I'm like, yeah, that's a bit of movie, but this is decent. But yeah, and yeah, like I don't try to bring up cancel people, but yeah, it's a good movie. And then an early one, which is decent, Clay Pigeons. He's in Clay Pigeon.
That's the other Vince Vaughn, Joaquin Phoenix movie from the same year. Yeah.
So yeah, I remember having that movie, like family having that movie as a kid, and yeah, it's a fun movie. So.
Stephen, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Muted.
You silly goose.
I also had We Own the Night, and I was on the fence with Clay Pigeons, mostly because it's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't really have that much memory of it, to be honest, but I do remember liking it. The other movie he did, this is the year before Gladiator. It's a supporting role, but he's good, and I think it's an underrated movie. Is 8mm with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And also Reservation Road was solid. Not great, but solid.
But Jacob, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Oh, nothing that hasn't been brought up already. We Own the Night. Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, I remember really enjoying it. So, yeah, I mean, they've all been brought up, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I probably would have brought up 8mm had I not brought up Sisters Brothers. I was tossing up between those two movies. But yeah, other ones that I do think he was good in. Like I do like, just like Piers. I'm not a big fan of him here in Vice, but I do think he's good in it. I would argue that I do think he's good in The Village, even though that movie's not that good. And I think he was really good at playing Jesus in Mary Magdalene. But yeah, some that have come up in the chat. Leo brings up U-Turn, Clay Pigeons, Inventing the Abbots, The Yards, Crawls, which is probably a movie Piers would never watch.
No thanks, I'm not watching the period piece. That
Man. Quills might actually be something you might like. Actually,
Nope.
No, I mean, yeah, and like I'm sure he might be decent as Jesus in Mary Magdalene.
I'm not watching that movie.
I'm not watching that movie.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And then Poker does sort of come up and like talks about things being a weird act, but I'd argue he probably is getting up there to be one of the top Hollywood stars. But yeah. But how we do the voting is we going to write down on a whiteboard or a bit of paper, whatever we have handy.
All right.
What we want at 12, and yeah. So, Piers, what do you have for 12?
I'm happy I made the list, Jacob, but Brother Bear.
Richie.
I should put Hotel Rwanda just because he's had such a little role in it, and I forgot he was in it.
I almost went that logic, Richie. It's one or the other. Yeah.
Stephen, what do you have for 12?
I have a feeling it's going to be a while for me to hear, but you were never.
Oh, what do you know? I predicted it.
Jacob.
I haven't seen it. Return to Paradise.
Yeah, I also put Brother Bear.
Oh, sorry, Jacob, but it made the list. Pretty good.
This means I don't have to erase my board. Gotta look for the positives.
Richie, what do you have for 11?
Hotel Rwanda.
Stephen,
You were never really here again.
Jacob,
Is that the sequel? You were never really here again. Return to Paradise. Oh.
Signs, Piers.
Good movie. Don't remember him in Hotel Rwanda. So Hotel Rwanda.
He played like he was like a journalist, I think, in that, right?
Oh, I know he's a cameraman or whatever, but yeah, like that's fine. I don't remember anything about his performance or him even being in the movie, so I have to put it at 11. Yeah.
It's not top 12 Joaquin Phoenix performances.
But yeah, Dan's also putting his personal rankings in the chat. He would have gone Billy for 12.
That's what we did. Yeah. There we go, man. We're right on board.
Okay, you might be happy there.
Yeah, maybe.
But Stephen, what do you have for 10?
Hasn't changed.
We'll be waiting a
Jacob.
minute.
It hasn't changed.
Hasn't changed. Piers,
Return to Paradise.
Richie.
Return to Paradise. There you go, Dan.
Yeah. But Steven, thank you for making me watch it. It's a good movie you guys should see. It's really good. Yeah. Yeah. Just because he's not in it a lot, though. He's maybe got 15 minutes of screen time in the whole movie, but he's really good.
Moving on to number 9. Jacob, what do you have for number 9?
I'll go The Sisters Brothers.
Sticking with signs, Piers.
Sisters Brothers.
Richie.
The Sisters Brothers.
And Jacob.
Oh, and Stephen, you mean?
Yeah.
Stephen.
Hasn't changed.
I will say, Dan would have been with Stephen on that one. But
Malcolm, what do you have for number 8?
signs. I've got a sign.
You know what?
Piers.
I also think that 8 is a good spot for signs.
Richie.
And put down, but I'll say you never really hear.
Stephen.
Oh, I guess that means it's going to be on Jacob because I also have you were never really here.
Jacob.
Well, I didn't want to write the whole title, so I just said don't worry.
The Don't Worry movie.
Which means we do have a tie between You Are Never Really Here and Signs. Jacob, which one do you want today?
Signs.
Signs.
Jacob, he wasn't in Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah, he was. You just couldn't see him.
I think you're confusing Joaquin Phoenix with John Cena if you can't see him.
Okay. I don't know if they were in a movie together. That'd be weird.
Not really.
Is it on me?
Yeah, Piers.
I think 7 is an okay spot now for You Were Never Really Here.
You were never really here.
Yeah.
Steve.
Hey, now Steven can write something different.
Yeah, I was going to say, damn, now I have to actually write something
Now you
different.
got to write something. Don't be lazy.
Jacob.
Don't worry.
Don't worry, we might get to that in a minute.
But You're Never Really Here is going to be at 7. So many words.
Wait.
No point in guessing what you're fucking writing on your board.
But for 8, Dan would have gone Don't Worry, and then his 7 would have been Signs.
You're pretty close. Yeah.
But Richie, what do you have for 6?
Don't worry, he won't get far on foot.
Stephen.
I won't have to write something down now until probably we get to number one. Joker.
Oh my god.
Jacob.
Don't worry.
You just don't want to write anything.
I've
Stephen.
also got Joker.
What?
Piers.
The movie he won an Oscar for?
No,
You guys
no
out of your
way.
goddamn mind?
We can't do that.
No.
I'm
put
looking
the
at
foot
what's
movie.
left. I'm looking at what's left, and I like all those movies more.
No.
The performance. We're talking about Joaquin Phoenix. Come on, man.
Well,
What are y'all
this is
doing?
Joaquin Phoenix movies, not Joaquin
Jesus,
Phoenix.
now we all have to be on the same wavelength, me and Richie and Jacob, to overcome this. This is not good. Damn, we gotta.
Or at
we
least
gotta-
two of us. At least two of us.
Yeah. All right, now me and Richie have to kind of mind melt here and see what we're gonna do with the last ones.
All right. Jesus Christ, put some pressure.
Oh shit. All right. I'm gonna go with this. Hopefully, Richie you'll be in my safe wavelength there, Jacob.
But Stephen, what do you have for 5?
No, don't do this, guys. You're wrong. You're incorrect.
Jacob.
No.
I have the master.
I'm sticking with the Joker.
Her.
Richie.
What?
No. No. I walked the line.
Oh fuck! I almost went off the line. Damn it! Shit. No,
That Joker is
can't be
going to
number
be
5.
Bullshit.
What the fuck? Come on, guys! You won an Oscar for that movie. You out of your minds?
I like the performances in his other movies more.
Oh my god.
Good God!
Wait, what was number 6? I forgot.
Number 6 was the Don't Worry, You Won't Get Very Far.
Oh, then what was 7?
7.
You were never really here.
Well, you're never really here.
Yeah, the ones left right now are Gladiator, Her, Walk the Line, and The Master.
Yeah, those are the correct top 4.
No.
No. No way. No. You're missing a key one out of that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, the correct number 1 is all the way at number 12, guys.
Oscar nominated Turin as Brother Bear.
Sure got nominated for a song, maybe.
But Richie, what do you have for number 4?
Walk the line.
Oh God,
Stephen.
so disappointed in
The Master.
Steven right now.
The master.
The Master. Piers.
Walk the Line.
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, Piers, Poker agrees with you, and I think Dan would
At least top 3, minimal. But having it at 5, I think is nonsensical. I don't know. Just
Disrespect.
that's disrespectful. He played Joker without sending used condoms to people. You know, like Jared Leto did. Okay. It's called
he's
acting.
definitely.
He acted. He acted.
Well, of course, you're comparing him now with a lesser performance, of course.
Well, I'm just saying he knows how to act and just be an actor.
Anyway, Jacob, what is your number 3?
I'll go Walk the Line here.
I've got Gladiator. Piers.
I switched to Her this time.
Richie.
Walk the line.
Stephen.
Walk the Line.
Walk the Line is going to be 3.
So now you vote for 1 out of the last 2, right?
Yep, and it's Her and Gladiator. But what I've got Her at number 1, Piers.
Joker. I mean, Her. Gladiator.
Richie.
Gladiator.
Stephen.
Gladiator.
And Jacob.
I usually wouldn't put a movie at number 1 that I just stopped watching half an hour ago, but Gladiator.
With that, we've reached our top 12 Joaquin Phoenix movies. Just to recap, the 12 At 12, we've got Brother Bear. At 11, we've got Hotel Rwanda. At 10, we've got Return to Paradise. At 9, we've got The Sisters Brothers. At 8, we've got Signs. At 7, we've got You're Never Really Here. At 6, we got Don't Worry, He Won't Get Very Far on Foot. I probably butchered that title.
Stop right there, Malcolm. I want the chat to see this. I want the people watching to see this. Look at what it says right there. Number 5, the one he finally won the Oscar for. Number 5. Number 5.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right, now you can continue.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Go ahead. No, that's fine. That's fine.
At 4, we've got The
These
Master.
jokers around here. Jesus Christ.
At 3, we've got Walk the Line. At 2, we got Her. And number 1, we got Gladiator.
Heath Ledger's the anarchy Joker, not Joaquin Phoenix. Come on, people.
Yeah.
I think it's actually pretty accurate top 5.
Of course you do.
But anyway, that is the end of ranking for this week. Next week is going to be top 12 Jude Law movies. Going from someone who's not done a lot of things in franchises, someone who's done a few things in franchises. But Austin, where can people find you online?
Yeah, mostly the Movie Hero Network. Watching Joker again with tears in my eyes because it happened on this tournament, because it should be at least 2 or 3 bare minimum. But okay. But yeah, not much else besides that. I pre-taped some stuff, but I'll talk about that on another show. But yeah, Movie Hero Network, Taylor Fights, Tournament Fights. Jacob and I did a podcast about movies last night, so go check that out. And yeah, Lonely Marks with 2 of these other guys over here. So yeah, talking wrestling.
Richie, where can people find you online?
Don't worry, Pez. When we eventually do top 12 Zazie Beetz movies, we'll get Joker. Get Joker on there. Obviously, Lonely Marks. I think we're going to do our NXT card next time, and Backlash predictions. Probably talk about the actual draft that happened as well. Tournament fights. Next one I'm on is best movie duos. It's on Tuesday, I believe. And you can.
I think that one's on.
That's
in a while. That's in a while. This week we've got Jordan's Mystery Tier Anchor on Monday, the punctuation thing on Wednesday, and
the Wednesday.
And the teams one on Friday, something like that.
Okay, all right. He might have changed things. Right? I don't know. He asked me to be on something, but anyway, I'm on when I'm on. You can my podcast with Robert Cameron, tell him I'm streaming. So the one episode I got today, which I think is episode I got tomorrow, which I think is Thanksgiving, and then we're gonna record one on Wednesday, which is Chopping Mall, which will be cool to watch. So yeah, go check that out.
Something I didn't realize until I looked up Zazie Beetz' filmography. In History of the Real Part 2, she played Mary Magdalene.
God.
But Stephen, where can people find you online?
If it's any consolation, it probably would be number 1 for Todd Phillips movies. Not that that's saying much, but although the first Hangover is pretty good too. I have at least 1, maybe 2 matches coming up this week. I don't know if they're being pre-recorded or if they're live. So, and I don't remember, what when they're happening. I just know there's sometime this week, and I'm sure I'll pop up sometime on tournament fights, which I do from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, we can be find you online. Yeah, like Pez said, over at the Movie Hero Network, a podcast about movies. We did a show yesterday. It's pretty fun. Go check it out. Lonely Marks on Thursdays, and then Tier Anchor Tournament Fights. I also do trivia for every once in a while over on JPO's channel, the Pierce Co. or Pierce Wrestling. So go check those out as well.
Mm-hmm. Next, next week, we've got top 12 judo movies for Rankum, and we've already got people making predictions in the comments. Poker says if Joker's only top 5, we'll probably see Secrets of Dumbledore as number 1.
What kind of weird shit?
And then Dan going like, telling him, and then Dan also told us off for not picking Joaquin Phoenix as Jesus. I don't think Dan's serious about that one, but I don't know.
No, I think he's being sarcastic.
But yeah, you can find me all over the place. Realistically, I think next time I'm on Movie Hero Network, it's going to be for punctuation movies this week.
Yeah, I'll be on that one as well. Whenever that, yeah.
But yeah, pretty much. But you can pretty much find me all over the place. I pop up on places where there's trivia tournaments and all that. And yeah, until next time, see ya. I was going to find a Joaquin Phoenix thing, but I didn't, so I'm going to do it.